In this moment, a powerful message comes directly from Archangel Michael himself, the great protector and warrior of heaven, who stands vigilant over your life with unwavering strength and divine authority. He declares that your enemies, whether they are seen or unseen, physical or spiritual, are bewildered, confused, and utterly astonished that despite every attack, every attempt to knock you down or break your spirit, you remain standing. This is no ordinary perseverance. It is the work of heaven itself, a testament to the armor of faith, courage, and divine protection that surrounds you like an unbreakable shield. Archangel Michael sees the battles you have endured, the moments when the weight of the world threatened to crush your soul, the times when darkness seemed to close in from every direction. Yet here you are, still standing tall, still breathing, still moving forward, and this alone is a sign that the divine forces are at work. Your enemies expected you to fall, to give in to fear, doubt, or despair, but what they have witnessed instead is a resilience born from your connection to the highest. You are wrapped in the light of Michael's sword, fiery and fierce, which cuts through every lie, every scheme, every whisper meant to bring you down. You have been equipped with spiritual weapons far greater than any human conflict could overcome. The confusion of your enemies is not accidental. It is a reflection of the cosmic order shifting in your favor. They see your steadfastness and cannot comprehend the source of your strength. They watch you rise like a phoenix from the ashes, each scar a symbol of battles won, each step a declaration that no darkness can consume your light. This message from Archangel Michael is a call to recognize the divine power within you that others have underestimated. Your very existence defies their expectations and disrupts their plans. You are standing because you have been chosen and anointed for a purpose greater than you realize. The spiritual realm is mobilized around you. Angels encamping on every side, fighting on your behalf, even when you feel alone or overwhelmed. Your enemies may wield fear, jealousy, manipulation, or betrayal as their weapons, but these pale before the sword of truth and the shield of unwavering faith that you carry. Every attempt to shake you has only made you stronger. Every storm weathered has deepened your roots in the divine promise that you will not only survive, but thrive. Archangel Michael urges you now to hold your ground with even greater conviction. This is not the time to retreat or give in to weariness. Your enemy's confusion is your signal that you're on the right path, that their power is waning and your victory is drawing near. The angelic host stands with you, surrounding you in celestial light that repels all negativity and deception. Know that every trial you have faced has been a test to prepare you for the fulfillment of your destiny. The very forces that oppose you are now instruments in the divine plan, pushing you to grow, to awaken, and to rise into the fullness of who you are meant to be. Archangel Michael's voice rings clear. Do not fear, do not falter. Your enemy's confusion is proof that you are winning the war they refuse to acknowledge. Stand firm in your faith, for the battle is already decided in heaven. As you absorb this powerful message, feel the surge of divine strength flowing through your veins, igniting a fire in your spirit that no enemy can extinguish. Your endurance, your courage, and your faith are a beacon of light that draws blessings, protection, and victory toward you. Stand tall, beloved child of God, for you are protected, empowered, and destined to overcome. The confusion of your enemies is but a whisper in the roar of your divine triumph. You are still standing because heaven is with you, now and always. They watched you stagger and thought that was the end of you. They counted your silence as surrender, your isolation as defeat, your kindness as weakness. They whispered behind closed doors, secretly delighting in what they assumed would be your downfall. But heaven says, Their confusion is your confirmation. Archangel Michael has drawn his sword not just to defend you, but to reveal the power of a soul who walks with God even when wounded. Your enemies are confused because everything they sent to break you only made you stronger. The ridicule, the betrayal, the loss, it all pushed you into deeper alignment with heaven's plan. While they were mocking, you were maturing. While they were plotting, you were praying. And while they were strategizing your failure, heaven was orchestrating your elevation. You were never fighting alone. Even in the battles you didn't understand, angels were standing watch at your side, shielding your name in rooms where it was being slandered, intercepting attacks sent through envy, jealousy, spiritual manipulation, and unseen forces. They don't understand how you survive because they didn't see the warfare in the spirit realm that raged every night while you slept. But Archangel Michael did, and he says, you were never unprotected, you were being fortified. What they didn't realize is that every season where you were broken became the ground for your resurrection. Your tears watered the seeds of your future. Your nights of silence were nights of divine strategy. Heaven wasn't punishing you when the support vanished. It was purifying your circle so that when you rise, you do not rise with parasites. Your enemies assumed they had time. Time to laugh, time to sabotage, time to feel safe in their schemes. But heaven accelerated your healing, your growth, your awakening. They don't know how you still have peace. They don't understand how you still carry light. They don't believe you can still smile with such softness after everything they threw your way. But here you are, and they're watching, and they don't realize that their confusion is part of the justice. You were never meant to explain yourself to people who celebrated your pain. You were meant to rise so high that your presence becomes your proof, your breath becomes your resistance, your joy becomes your sword. The very fact that you didn't quit when it would have been easier to walk away is your victory. You're still standing not because you are lucky, but because you are chosen. You are covered. You are shielded. And Archangel Michael himself has gone before you to make sure every step you take from here forward is wrapped in divine clarity. The truth is, the reason they can't figure out why you're still standing is because they underestimated the one who stands with you. They don't know that heaven rewrote your name in the spirit realm. They don't know that every curse whispered about you returned empty, unable to find a landing place on your spirit. They don't know that when they try to block your path, God simply created a new one. You see, the trap was real, but it never worked. The plan to embarrass you is active, but it was flipped into your testimony. The efforts to make people doubt your character were spreading, but the light on your name is now undeniable. Because when heaven vindicates you, no opinion, no gossip, no lie has any power. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that some of your enemies are not confused because they don't believe in your strength. They're confused because they do. They see your resilience, and it makes them question everything they've built their identity on. They see your grace, and it agitates the spirits in them that operate from pride, control, and envy. They see your peace, and it exposes the chaos inside of them. Your strength is not loud, but it is undeniable. You didn't have to fight dirty to survive. You didn't have to retaliate, manipulate, or shout to be seen. Heaven saw you, heaven endorsed you, and heaven is now rewarding you. You must understand that the confusion of your enemies is heaven's deliberate tactic. God is not only revealing your strength to them, He is revealing their own weakness. He is making them sit with the reality that they could not destroy what they never created. He is forcing them to witness your glow up, your spiritual growth, your emotional maturity. This is the season where your enemies watch you win without access to your heart. The very ones who mocked your delay will now have to observe your acceleration. The ones who tried to replace you will realize they could never replicate you. You are not just still standing. You are standing in authority. Your voice carries weight in the spirit realm now. Your presence shifts the atmosphere. Your prayers are producing results that ripple into generations. Archangel Michael says, this is your moment to stop questioning your survival and start owning your significance. You didn't go through all that pain for nothing. The storms weren't random. They were activation points. The betrayals weren't just personal. They were prophetic indicators of your anointing. Heaven doesn't waste suffering, and your scars are now sacred reminders that what was sent to destroy you ended up preparing you. Let them be confused. Let them wonder. Let them search for explanations and never find them. Because some victories are too spiritual to be understood by carnal minds. Archangel Michael is not just celebrating your resilience. He's instructing heaven's hosts to begin unlocking the rewards reserved for the faithful. This is where you start walking differently. Not out of arrogance, but out of awareness. You are aware now of who you are. A survivor, yes. But more than that, a warrior cloaked in divine grace. You don't need validation anymore. You don't need revenge. The way you carry peace now is your victory. And your enemies are confused because peace was never part of their strategy for you. They expected anger. They expected bitterness. They expected collapse. But God rewrote the outcome. He flipped the script. He elevated your spirit when others tried to shrink it. And now, as Archangel Michael watches over your path, heaven is smiling. Because the battle wasn't just about you. It was about proving that those aligned with the light cannot be overtaken by darkness. You're proof. You're a prophecy fulfilled. And this is just the beginning. They tried to bury you in rumors, but heaven planted you in revelation. They thought they were silencing you when they walked away, but they were actually creating the quiet God needed to speak directly to your spirit. Archangel Michael wants you to know that the confusion of your enemies is not just about your survival. It's about your emergence. They don't understand how someone who was left for dead spiritually, emotionally, and even financially could now radiate so much power. But what they didn't count on is that while they were betting on your collapse, God was writing a comeback. You were placed in divine obscurity not as punishment, but as preparation. And the moment they took their eyes off you, thinking the battle was over, was the exact moment heaven activated your next level. Because heaven doesn't bless in public what it hasn't refined in private. You were never abandoned by the spirit realm. Heaven went silent to recalibrate the spiritual blueprint over your life. And now that you've come through that long night, now that you've stared down the darkness and refused to surrender your soul, Archangel Michael says it's time for the oil of glory to drip from the very wounds they thought would bleed you dry. Your enemies don't know that your stillness was warfare, that your quietness was not weakness, but obedience. God told you not to respond, not to retaliate, not to stoop, and you listened. You honored divine instruction in the face of betrayal, insult, and manipulation. And now that restraint is producing a harvest they will not understand. They are confused because they were so sure their words would stain you, so confident that your loneliness would break you, so certain that the pain they caused would leave you bitter and resentful. But what they missed is that your soul had already been sealed by a covenant they could never touch. There are ancient promises written over your bloodline, spiritual declarations that no attack can override. When they touched you, they touched heaven's property. When they tried to block you, they interfered with the divine timetable. When they lied about you, they triggered a reversal they could never undo. Archangel Michael says some of your enemies are now spiritually unsettled, not because they regret what they did, but because they can't escape the consequences unfolding in real time. And they don't know how to reconcile your strength with their schemes. You're standing in divine protection, and that protection is exposing every hidden agenda, every silent hater, every spiritual manipulator cloaked as a friend, every relative operating with jealousy under the mask of love. They are being unmasked not by you, but by the sheer fact that their assignments failed. Some of your enemies are confused because their curses bounce back. They saw you stumble and thought the spell was working. But they didn't see the angels posted at your side, intercepting what was never meant to touch your destiny. Archangel Michael wants you to remember this. Your survival was never accidental. It was strategic. Every delay, every door that closed, every betrayal that stung was a coded message from heaven to redirect your path towards something greater. And now, as the dust settles and your name rises again, your enemies are bewildered, not because they underestimated you, but because they underestimated the God in you. They don't know that while you were in the valley, heaven was sharpening your discernment, that every sleepless night gave birth to a higher level of spiritual clarity, that you are no longer the person they tried to destroy. You've evolved, transformed, ascended. Your posture is different. Your frequency is elevated. You walk with spiritual fire now, and it burns away anything not aligned with truth. Even your silence carries weight. Even your presence disrupts darkness. This is why the enemy is panicking. Not because you are loud, but because your authority is undeniable. Archangel Michael says this is not just about enemies watching you stand. It's about the heavens endorsing your rise. God is intentionally putting you back into places where your name was dragged through the mud. You will walk through doors they swore would never open for you again. You will be celebrated in the same environments where you were once rejected. But here's the miracle. You won't carry revenge, only revelation. You will not seek validation, only victory. Because you have learned the secret that survival is not the goal. Transformation is. You didn't just survive their attacks. You became someone unrecognizable to the version of yourself who once thought you couldn't make it. You grew a backbone in the darkness. You grew wings in the fire. You learned to pray not for people to come back, but for the strength to keep walking forward when they don't. You stopped trying to fix what God removed. You stopped trying to be understood by people committed to misunderstanding you. And in that shift, you became dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. Your presence is a rebuke to those who tried to reduce you. Your continued peace is a slap in the face to every spirit that hoped you'd drown in bitterness. You are still standing, and now you are unshakable. They're confused because heaven didn't just protect you, it promoted you. God didn't just defend you, He documented your obedience and turned it into favor. And now everything is shifting. Archangel Michael says there are blessings rushing toward you not just for what you endured, but for how you endured. You didn't curse the ones who cursed you. You didn't drag the ones who dragged you. You chose light. You stayed humble. You stayed teachable. And heaven has recorded every moment. The anointing on your life is thicker now. The armor around your destiny is reinforced. You're no longer vulnerable to the same tactics. You can see through flattery. You can sense counterfeit energy. You can hear the Holy Spirit louder than ever before. And now, you're being prepared not just to stand, but to soar. This is why they're confused. They assumed the old version of you would always be there. But that version died in the fire. And what's walking now is someone who has been baptized by battle, resurrected by grace, and positioned by prophecy. You're not just still standing. You're standing in the center of divine timing, and everything they tried to bury you with has become the soil beneath your rising. And Archangel Michael says the best part is yet to come. Keep walking, keep watching, keep worshiping. The confusion of your enemies is the sound of your promotion arriving. And now heaven rises to its feet for you. The angels have witnessed every single tear you cried in secret. Every moment you resisted the urge to collapse under pressure, and every instant your soul chose obedience over revenge. This is not just a victory over those who want to see you broken. This is heaven confirming to you. You are favored, anointed, and spiritually marked for something eternal. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that their confusion is only the beginning. What's about to pour into your life will leave them speechless, not because of the blessing size, but because of your undeniable resilience. What was supposed to destroy you has become the fuel of your transformation. And now, the tables are not just turning. They're being flipped by divine decree. This moment marks the beginning of a new spiritual atmosphere around you, a realm of protection and acceleration that no enemy can touch. They will watch from a distance as God honors the fire you walk through. They will witness you step into rooms they tried to lock you out of, receive favor in circles where they tried to erase your name, and experience miracles in areas they mocked. And heaven will make sure they see it, not to shame them, but to glorify the one who kept you through it all. Archangel Michael says, "You need to know this. The confusion your enemies feel is a side effect of something deeper. Spiritually, they can no longer access the space you now inhabit. You've outgrown the frequency of their curses. You've ascended above the reach of their manipulation. Their words can no longer penetrate the shield of grace surrounding your life. Their intentions are disarmed the moment they speak them, because God has intercepted their plans and rerouted your path toward divine appointment. Some of them don't even know why their schemes aren't working anymore. They're praying their old methods will work on you, but you've evolved spiritually. You're no longer baited by chaos, provoked by drama, or stirred by their silence. You're moving to a beat they can't hear, led by a voice they don't recognize. Your spirit is tuned to heaven now. You wake up with divine instructions. You go to sleep with peace that doesn't match your circumstances. And while they try to study you, they don't understand. You're not operating from logic anymore. You're moving by revelation. You're moving by spirit. You're moving by alignment. And oh, what a shift it has been. Archangel Michael says the reason it's all happening now is because you have reached the moment where your assignment and your preparation collide. You are standing at the threshold of a chapter your enemies can't interrupt. They may try to distract you. They may attempt to pull you back into battles you've already won. But they will fail, not because you're untouchable, but because you're untouchable by anything that isn't divine. Your heart has been purified. Your hands have been cleansed. Your motives have been refined. Heaven has declared, "This one belongs to me." And what belongs to God cannot be cursed, cannot be blocked, cannot be stopped. You are rising, and it is confusing to those who fed off your struggle. They were comfortable when you were down. They felt powerful when you were vulnerable. But now that you walk in discernment and speak in authority, they don't know how to approach you. And that's exactly how heaven designed it. God has hidden you in plain sight, revealed only to those with pure intentions and spiritual clarity. There are blessings about to overtake you so quickly, they'll make even your past self question how it all changed so fast. And Archangel Michael says, it's not luck, it's law, spiritual law, the kind that rewards those who endure, who stay the course, who bow when the flesh wants to lash out. You have qualified through silence. You have matured through rejection. You have fasted through storms. And now heaven is sending recompense. Not just material blessings, but supernatural justice. Vindication without vengeance. Restoration without begging. Elevation without explanation. And yes, your enemies will witness it. Because God is not just healing you. He is teaching the world how he treats those who trust him in secret. Every time you didn't fight back. Every time you chose prayer instead of panic. Every time you forgave in silence. It was all recorded. And now the record is being released in the form of favor that cannot be fabricated. Archangel Michael is guarding the next phase of your life personally. This level of protection isn't ordinary. You have angels assigned to guard your relationships, your mind, your future, your territory. You may feel a holy discomfort around certain people, and that's heaven warning you not to go back. You may feel the sudden collapse of certain connections, and that's God removing anything that can't survive the weight of where he's taking you. Don't resist it. Don't try to revive what heaven is burying. The confusion of your enemies is confirmation that your exit from their influence has begun. and you will not return to be the same person. You will return wiser, cleaner, closer to God. Some people thought they were rejecting you when they walked away, but they were rejecting the anointing they couldn't handle. You didn't lose anything. You were released from limitation. And now your hands are free to receive what you couldn't carry before. Peace that surpasses understanding. Joy that has no earthly explanation. Power that intimidates demons. Vision that keeps you 10 steps ahead. They're confused because they thought their silence would destroy your spirit. But all it did was amplify God's voice in your life. You now walk with revelation. You become the answer to prayers you didn't even know you were praying. And you are becoming someone you won't have to explain. God is making your fruit undeniable. He is lighting a fire in your life that can't be hidden. Archangel Michael says, don't waste time explaining your glow. Just walk. Just keep shining. Just keep obeying. You don't owe anyone closure who gave you spiritual chaos. You don't owe explanations to those who never valued your presence. You are rising, not just to prove a point, but to fulfill a prophecy. And finally, the enemy is learning a hard truth. They attacked someone God was preparing to lead. They touched someone wrapped in divine promise. They underestimated the oil flowing from your obedience. But now it's too late. You are standing, and soon you'll be soaring. They didn't know you were a seed. They didn't know storms water certain kinds of souls. But heaven knew, and heaven kept you. Heaven covered you. Heaven carried you through a valley designed to kill weaker spirits. But you rose. And Archangel Michael ends with this. Your story is not just one of survival. It is a spiritual testimony that will awaken nations. And the ones who try to destroy you, they will have no choice but to witness every blessing God has stored in his hand with your name on it. Watch. It's already beginning.